Hello again, ladies and gentle bikers. We're back for another first ride review. This time it's Yamaha's MT-09 SP. Three videos ago on the channel we did the big brother, the MT-10, but not the SP version. This time Crescents Yamaha at Southampton have let me take out the MT-09 SP. I've obviously ridden it again across the motorway back here from Crescents so I can start the video. It's a lot of fun already, and the big question is the MT-10 maybe too much and the MT-09 the perfect spot? This has won Bike of the Year, I think maybe 2 years in a row right now. So we're going to jump on board the MT-09 SP, do our normal route, have a chat about the normal things, the comforts, the things that annoys me, the things that I like. It is a 2024 model, which is the current model year. So though it's not a 2025, it is the current model year. If you get a 2025 version, it won't be any different, I don't think. It's got some things I like over the MT-10, it's got some things I don't like over the MT-10. Some of it's personal preference, some of it is, I think, probably the same for most people. We're going to jump on board and do a first ride review. Now, one of the big differences you may notice is there's no key slot here, so I haven't quite got used to this yet, but you basically, there we go, it's on now. Put it in the on position. That dashboard lights up, which is a bit better than the MT-10, to be fair. You can hear that. You can hear that fan whirring away. I don't know if you can hear that. The mirrors are the same as the MT-10. The front end's a bit different. We'll do this when we do the walk around. But yeah, it's keyless. So you flick it on with the key in your pocket, and you start it. Right. I guess we're ready to go. And here we are on board the MT-09 SP. I don't like saying MT-09, it's MT-09 SP. And it's interesting. It's an interesting bike. So this takes, if you think about the last two reviews we've done on the channel, no, of the last three reviews of the channel, two of them we've done is the XSO 900 GP and the MT-10. So Yamaha are letting me go through their demo bikes at the moment, and I'm very grateful for them. I've got a bit of news about that in the future, which is not good news, but it's fine. We'll make it work. They've been letting me take out their demo bikes, and this is obviously another one of their demo bike lineup, the MT-09 SP. And it's interesting because this is the same kind of naked setup as the MT-10, but it's the CP3 that's the same as in the XSR 900 GP. So it's the same CP3 engine. And but yet with a naked setup like the MT-10, so it's less kind of sports bike. There's no clip-ons. You can see there's a straight bar on some risers there. The knee position is sort of tucked up, but not as tucked up, not quite as tucked up as the GP. It's not far off, I'll be honest, but it's not quite as tucked up as the GP. In essence, this is a GP. This is an XSR 900, essentially. Like the engine is the same. It's the Crossplane 3 engine. You can see the dash is the same, but we've got this naked frame. I mean, I already prefer this to the 900 GP, if I'm honest with you. But it sits, like I said, it sits as the smaller brother to the MT-10. Now, I think for a lot of people, especially if affordability isn't a massive issue, if you can have an MT-9 or an MT-10, or if you can have a Kawasaki Z900 or a Z1000 or whatever, a lot of people go, well, you get the bigger one, obviously. If money's no issue, you get the bigger one. And actually, one of the things I want to ask, because what we're trying to do on these reviews is give you a real-world review rather than a, professional, every single statistic and data point of view, is I want to know if the MT-10 is maybe not required on our roads and the MT-09 is perfect. I've had a conversation with some people recently where they've said you don't need the 10, the MT-09's fine, you can actually have more fun with the MT-09 and be within legal limits, and that's an interesting point that we want to talk about. Now, I've obviously so far only ridden this across from Crescents, but my fucking god, this thing wants to, and this is the point, I feel like if to have the same amount of fun on the 10, you'd probably doing really illegal shit, right? I don't know, maybe this is just me, but the power on this at the moment, and I've only got a limited amount of experience right now, but the power on this at the moment feels like it's in the Goldilocks zone. Does that make sense? It feels like it's exactly where you want it for UK roads. And I'm tempted by this, but there's some things I don't like, and we'll get onto those. Some of the things are largely irrelevant for me as a rider, but they still annoy me, but we'll get onto that in a moment. On the whole though, this thing is... Whoa, this thing already feels like an incredible machine, and we'll see how many times it makes me go, this thing is incredible, because I found I do that quite a lot in these reviews. Now what I have been doing is watching some of my reviews back as I've been editing them, and I'm trying to improve it. So slightly different intro right there. I'm trying to improve this a little bit, these reviews. The MT-10 one did really, really well. The Street Glide and the XSR 900 GP not so well, but you know, we live and we learn. So any feedback's welcome. If you've got feedback on the reviews and things you do or don't like, please feel free to stick them in the comment section. Very, very welcome. If you are watching these reviews and you're watching all the reviews, I appreciate you're amazing. So we're going to do our normal test route today, and it is a stunning day down here in the south coast of the UK. In fact, we're in the middle of a bit of a heat wave right now, or we're at the start of another heat wave, or something. I don't know, the weather people keep saying heat wave, and it's supposed to get to like 30 to 35 degrees Celsius in the UK on Monday, which doesn't sound a lot for those of you who live in Freedom Land, but for those of us who live in the UK, especially with our humidity, it is quite a lot. That heat's quite a lot. So I have got full gear on, obviously, because this is a bike I'm not used to, and I'm not necessarily 100% confident on, and I'm not necessarily 100% comfortable on because of what I'm used to. So let's start off with the comfort. Now, comfort is the first thing I like to always touch on, because if you're not comfortable on a bike, the likelihood is you won't be able to enjoy it to its fullest. Now, I'm very, very comfortable on my Harley Davidson Fat Boy because I'm so used to it. I was actually very comfortable, surprisingly comfortable, I think, on the MT-10. I was slightly less comfortable on the GP, the XSR GP, and when I watched that video back, I was like, it looks like I'm a granny riding this bike. Like, it doesn't look like I'm a person who knows what the fuck he's doing. And that was an interesting kind of discovery for me. Like, watching it, like, going on the bike and riding the bike, I felt like, oh, look at me, I'm fucking super cool, like, retro racer. Watching that video back, there was no way that was the case. And I think it's possibly because I was a little bit more uncomfortable. The clip-ons down here, and the clip-ons down here, and they weren't proper clip-ons, meant there's a lot of bikes out today, by the way, meant that I was just not fully 100% comfortable with the bike overall. I think that's something that will come with time. There's some lovely comments that have come in from that video of people who are owners of the GP who say they love it, and I think if I had more time with the bike, I'd absolutely get more comfortable with it. That's probably not a surprise to most people, but I wasn't 100% with it. What I found with this is the knees up position, the legs tucked up position, is about spot on. It's like the MT-10, maybe a little bit more tucked up than the MT-10, perhaps slightly more tucked up than the MT-10. I don't know what the actual numbers are, whether I'm imagining this because I've been back on my Harleys for a while, but it feels slightly more tucked up than the MT-10, but not in an uncomfortable position. My feet sort of find the pegs quite naturally, so you can sort of see my legs there. Like they are tucked, they are at almost a right angle, maybe a little bit more than a right angle, a little bit more of an acute angle than that, but I am quite comfortable. Now, I am sat basically upright, almost straight back, and my arms are out on the handlebars. This rider triangle for me is quite nice and quite comfortable. What it has done is it makes me feel like I'm really in control of the bike. So I can stamp my feet and the bike changes direction. I can counter steer and the bike changes direction. I've got my legs gripped on this tank with these cutouts for my legs, which is very, very nice. And I think that I feel dangerously in control of this, which is interesting. Because I definitely didn't feel that way necessarily on the GP, but that was a 900cc, well, 890cc Crossplane 3, and I felt like this is more akin to how I felt on the MT-10, which again was the liter bike. So comfort, pretty good in terms of ergonomics. I'm quite comfortable. The levers are quite nice. The mirrors, I'm going to get to mirrors early. I've set these up a bit more. I've spent a bit more time setting these up than I did on the MT-10, and I can see more. So they're less of a problem. I think I would probably still prefer bar ends, but they're less of a problem. They're all right. They're not pretty, but they're okay. Bar ends would make the overall aesthetic of this look better, and we'll do more of that on the walk round. Handlebars are fine. They're in a decent position. Levers, stock levers are fine. They're in decent positions. You can obviously adjust them slightly, but they're fine. Overall, quite comfortable actually for a naked. And confidence-inspiring levels of comfortable, which is obviously really, really good. There's a couple of things that people might not like in terms of ergonomics. One of the big things that I see everyone mention all the time is this indicator. So this is the same as what we had on the XSR 900 GP. It's the click left to go left, click right to go right, click the same direction that you've clicked to cancel. This is, as a Harley rider, a positive. I love it. I really love it. This is one of my favourite things about these new Yamahas, and I actually prefer this over the MT-10, which is the traditional like slide over left, slide over right, and then push in to cancel. And I prefer this. I don't know why I prefer this. I think it's probably because of my 2-3 years on Harleys, but I prefer this. Oh my god, honestly team, there's a possibility that this bike is dangerous. So the MT-10 is so powerful that I think you kind of, there's a dare I say this, I think the MT-10 is so powerful that there's a level of respect that goes into riding that bike, because you think this could easily be stupid. This, because the power band is in a different place and it's delivered slightly differently, this could be really dangerous. Arguably, I reckon, could be a little bit more dangerous than the MT-10, simply because I'm already throwing this in a way that I haven't thrown a bike in a long time, and it's so much fun already. And part of that's that comfort package that I talked about. So that's the comfort package, right? The engine, the powertrain on this is that CP3, that Crossplane 3 engine that you find in the XSR 900. You also find it in the Tracer 9 and the Tracer 9 GT. And obviously the Tracer 900 GP as well. It's the same Crossplane 3 powertrain. It's one of the most highly kind of regarded engines that I've ever heard people talk about. I've never heard a person ride a Crossplane 3 and dislike it. I hear people complain a little bit about the power delivery in second gear and that it feels a bit muted. I'm not tuned in enough to not kind of notice or feel that, but apparently with an aftermarket tune you can iron that kink out pretty comfortably. But in terms of the powertrain, it is that same one we spoke about before. Power delivery is smooth, it's impressive, it's fun, it's torquey, it's everything you want. It's legitimately everything you want. And if you are a person who notices that flat spot, like I say, you can get that tuned out with an aftermarket tune as well. Which, if you're going to be changing the exhaust, for example, this one's got the a Krapovich exhaust on it. If you're going to be changing the exhaust, you're probably going to want to do a tune anyway. Like, that's just something you probably should do. If you change pipes on your bike, you should probably tune it. I think it could be a relatively inefficient if you don't, so it's worth doing. But the biggest, most concerning thing about this particular bike so far for me is speed limits. Speed limits are a concern, because it's very easy to just focus on what's ahead of you and not look down at that speedo and then go, oh shit, that's a problem. Also on this bumpy-ish road as well, let's talk about the suspension. So being an SP, you've got upside down Öhlins forks at the front. I don't think they're so they're remote and preload and all that nonsense. They're fully adjustable, but they're not like the MT-10 SP. They're not semi-electric, semi-automatic. I kind of like the idea of semi-automatic, despite the fact I probably would never use it. But they're doing a good job of these bumps. Again, I haven't set this up. This has been set up from Yamaha. I pulled it out as a demo bike, and sometimes I spend some time like 10 minutes getting used to it before I bring it out. I didn't have time today. I've got to get it back for 2 o'clock because they've got other people coming out to ride the thing. But suspension's quite good. Again, I always felt like my highs were really, really plush, and then I ride these and go, There's a big part of me lately that's riding these bikes and thinking to myself, why have I been riding Harleys for 3 years? Have I made a mistake there? Am I missing out? Now, back on the comfort front, I'm a bit back and forth at the moment, but there's a thing I needed to talk about, which I feel like I skipped over because we've done it already with a 10, and it will be the same with every naked bike. It's a naked bike, so wind protection is close to zero, as you would sort of expect, right? It's not a massive surprise that wind protection is close to zero, but it is a naked bike, so that's just kind of expected. Again, I think for so many of these bikes now, the air that hits you is kind of clean. It's not really turbulent. These little screens don't really impact it too much. So sometimes you can feel like this weird buffeting that happens. You get loads of buffeting from, especially if you're like following vehicles and stuff like that. And I've ridden on bikes where there's a lot of buffeting from the gubbins in front of you as well. And sometimes I think the screens actually make it a little bit worse. The smaller screens make it worse, and it can fuck the air up as it comes into you and hits you, and you get this weird fucking blowing all over the place feel. This minimalistic approach for a lot of these nakeds nowadays means that you just kind of get clean airflow into your face and your upper torso. It does mean that when you're riding along at speed, that you've got like this weird air cushion that holds you up, which is good. But it does also mean that you're getting blasted by air. What's this fucking penis doing? It does mean you're getting blasted by air the whole time as well. So there is that to think about. Now, I'm stuck with things to say about this at the moment because there's such a grin on my face, by the way. So this thing, like the 900, comes with a ton of stuff as standard, a ton of stuff as stock. You've got this lovely little TFT display in front of us. You do have cruise control as standard, and it's the exact same setup as the 900 GP, so you won't have a struggle putting it in cruise control. I believe you get access to Yamaha's My Ride app, and therefore free sat-nav, and I don't think it's turn by turn, I think it's full sat-nav, which could be a persuading factor for some people. So the electronics on this is slightly better than the MT-10 in terms of what you get as a rider. If you want to connect your phone up, if that's the thing that appeals to you and you want sat-nav on your screen, it does have sat-nav on it. I don't know how good it is, I've not tried it or connected it, but that might push some people over the edge because it's a smaller price point and you arguably get more gadgets. Like I said, it comes with cruise control as standard, which, I mean, bikes coming with cruise control as standard nowadays, it should be the standard. I don't think there's a reason not to. I didn't have a problem with that at all. Sometimes I try and hit shitty bumps to see how it feels, and sometimes my Harleys want to rearrange my spine, and this isn't doing that. It also comes with an up and down quick shifter as standard, and you get a multiple rider mode. So unlike the MT-10 where you've got A, B, C, D, or whatever it is, or however the fuck it works, this has got sport, street, rain, custom A, custom B, and in custom A, custom B you can obviously essentially fully customize Yamaha let you do that. So you can customize traction control, you can customize lift control, you can customize all that kind of stuff, right? Cornering, ABS, etc. Power delivery, blah 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 blah. So there's loads of customizable options on it. I think if you own this bike for a while, you'd be quite tempted to fuck around with those options, but I think if you are new to it, you probably just stick it in one of the predetermined options. I'm getting more confident on nakeds now, and I've done the thing that I said that I think most people will do nowadays, and that's I've just put it in sport. I reckon if it was pissing with rain and slippery, this is a bike I would probably think about putting in rain mode to kind of control the power delivery mostly, and make sure that those aids are really looking after me. But I think that for the most part, I would just put this in sport and leave it in sport and control the bike myself. But yeah, you do have rider modes. I think, like I said, rider modes, unless it's dangerously wet conditions out there, or you know, concerningly wet conditions out there, I think rider modes are a little bit of a gimmick. I don't see why I would ever use street, for example, unless I felt like rain was too muted in the rain. Then I might use street, I guess. Okay, so we've got it to a stop. This thing has self-cancelling indicators, but they take ages to cancel, and that's slightly irritating. It's kind of weird, where it's got it, but it doesn't really respond very well, so I'm just having to get used to cancelling myself. That's not a problem. How easy is it to go into neutral? We're in first gear, we've just stopped. Straight in, no issues. And then you put your little peg down, whoop, and there we go, we're stopped. So there it is then, the MT-09 SP. We've obviously already looked at it in the car park. First of all, if you do want the SP model, this is the only colourway you can get it in. You can only get it in this black, blue and silver, and honestly, personally speaking, I'm a huge fan of this colourway. I think it's really nice and really, really sexy. I like the fact that it's the only one you can get for the SP, and I also like the fact that only the SP gets it. It does mean that when you see an MT-09 or an MT-10 in this colourway, you know it's an SP. One of the big giveaways is those orange front forks, those upside down Öhlins forks. I think it's stunning. The blue on the wheels is beautiful. The pinstripe blue around the tank is beautiful. Design wise, I'm a big fan of the colourways and how it looks. Huge fan of that. Good job, Yamaha. You can see that crossplane 3 engine purring away there. The 3 pipes coming out of the headers. You know, it's a What a great engine it is. It's so good. It's so incredibly good. We need more crossplane engines in the world, I think. So you've got your Brembo brakes here. One of the things the SP gets, you've got your Brembo master cylinder, but you also get Brembo front calipers. I don't think you get them on the standard MT-09, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, with your dual front discs there. You also have a two-part, I can't remember. You have a brake at the back. It's not Brembo, so yeah. But most people, you use your brakes in slow speed manoeuvring. You don't use your rear brakes for most of your actual braking. That cuts done from your front. The feel of this is actually all right. So I know it gets criticised quite a lot by people. I don't hate it. It's okay. It's better than I think the GP was, but I think there's still a little bit of lack of feel in the first few sort of centimetres of you gripping it, or inches, or whatever you want. It depends on whether you're Freedom Units or UK, right? It does have these honking great big tail tidies. I don't hate the tail tidies personally, but they are probably one of the things that most people change. And I don't think it comes as standard with the Akrapovic, but it might do. I'm not sure. I need to find out about that. But the Akrapovic, it makes a difference. The standard MT-09 comes with that underslung kind of exhaust system that has a little hole back here, and that is... it makes such a huge difference the way the bike looks for me and sounds. I don't like them with no exhaust. I don't. And I know a lot of people don't like these big cans. I actually quite like them. I don't hate them at all. I feel like a bike should have an exhaust. I don't like these tiny little cans that sit on them. This is a personal preference thing. Obviously, you can tell me that I'm wrong. One of the big differences over the MT-10, however, is this part, the front headlight. Now the MT-10 headlight is very much Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. I think the MT-09 is slightly less Marmite. I think it's more palatable for a lot of people, but typically you still kind of love it or hate it. So you get those two DRLs either side in this kind of buggy, waspy sort of looking front end, and then you get your main headlight here, which has a bulb on now for standard, and then you have the second bulb for full beam. This is one of those things that for me, I prefer the MT-10's headlight over the MT-09's headlight. This is a personal preference thing where a lot of people are going to tell me I'm wrong, but I think that's slightly cooler than that, because it comes down and you've got this kind of block at the front, and I think this one kind of just doesn't really give it a front end. I think it just looks it doesn't look big enough. Does this make sense, right? It doesn't seem to feel like there's a front end to the bike. I feel like if it's out here a bit more chunky, if you look at things like the street triples and stuff like that, they've got these lovely, I just feel like they do it better, and it's almost too just nothingness. There's just nothing there. So I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's not the worst. You get this beautiful brush swing arm as part of the SP model as well. You've obviously got your Ola's adjustable rear suspension, which is quite nice. The suspension is quite comfortable. Like I said, I haven't personally done anything to it, and it is quite comfortable. It's eating up bumps quite nicely. If we come around this side, you've got, well, that chain is not pretty, Yamaha. What are you doing? You'd win chain of shame with that. So yeah, there you go. You've got these ducting grills here. These are the sound inducting vents, or whatever they call them. Essentially, this is where it takes induction noise and it pumps it in your face, so you get a nicer sound as a rider. We've got stock. Everything's pretty much stock on this, I believe. You've got stock levers. Almost everything's pretty much stock. They're fine. I would want them to be black, but meh. You've got to save some budget somewhere, I guess. And we've got these indicators, and here's the problem I talked about before. Look at that. So, getting them seated properly, this is, what the fuck? Oh, we've got it in place. There we go, we did it, we fitted it. That's not a good design. It's not a good design, but we have fixed it. You just watched me do that live, pulling it around. I mean, it's pretty. I love it. I'm a fan. I like it. It's a lot of fun. Now, the thing that I was talking to you about the headlight, this is one of the things I don't like over the MT-10. This is where I get quite torn. So I don't like it over the MT-10. However, looking at it from this angle, I think the MT-10 looks nicer. But looking at it from this angle, who gives a shit? You can't see it. And that's what I'm a bit torn about. I'd love to know what you guys think. So we have our menu system here, so we can go into the home. You've got navigation, like I talked to you about. You've got a theme. You can change the theme. If you press in, you can change to a different theme. We can change to this theme, for example. We can go back. We have a different theme. We can go to theme 3. You've got lots of different themes in case you really wanted to massively customise it. I'm a big fan of this one actually. I like this theme the most. You can also go into a track mode. Here you've got your high beam, low beam, you've got your indicators, your horn, your hazards, your controls for your menu system. You can go across a different bar, press in and change things. If you don't want you might want your average fuel, you might want your air temperature, it's 24 degrees, you might want the time, you might want your fuel gauge. So that's quite nice, obviously. And then you can come out of that, you can go down here and you can change these individual settings as well, which is quite nice. We're not going to fuck around with that though. So you can see that everything's on 1, which is the lowest level of intervention while still having some level of intervention. You've got a mode button here, so you can switch between mode, custom 2, custom 1, rain, where you can see the power is massively reduced. The lift control is quite aggressive. The traction control system is quite aggressive. Street puts it all on 2s, Sport puts it all on 1s. We've lived on Sport today. I shall continue to live on Sport today because look at this day, it's beautiful. You've got your start button and you've got your keyless. I think that pretty much covers it all. Now, it'll come as no surprise to any of you that U-turning this is really easy. It's a naked bike. Oh, here's the thing I'm not sure, the biting point. Right, listen. It's quite an aggressive bite. It's quite a far out biting point. I don't like how far out that is. So U-turning this is not a problem at all because it's a naked bike. They have good handling. That's a fact. Right, let's get back on the first ride review and do some more riding. So one of the things I want to talk about on this is the handling. We kind of touched on it with comfort, but the way this thing handles with the Crossplane 3 handling the power at the same time is incredible. Like I've said to you already, I can't believe how confidently I'm doing things at speeds I would have never dreamed of doing things before in some of these areas. It's just very confidence inspiring, and the handling is it just goes exactly where you point it. So I don't really think that there is a downside to its handling at the moment. It's very responsive, it's very, very good. It's very sure, and again, much like the GP and the MT-10, the quick shifter is divine. The quick shifter does a great job. Like a really nice job. Isn't that a pretty sight? So the self-cancelling indicators on this don't really work properly. They kind of they take ages to cancel, self-cancel. They do self-cancel, but they take ages to self-cancel, and that's a problem because if you're relying on self-cancelling, which you shouldn't, to be fair, but if you're relying on self-cancelling and it continues to indicate and you're coming up to a junction, someone might actually think you're coming into that junction, and although they're supposed to wait for you starting to do your manoeuvre here in this country, they might decide to pull out, and that's a problem, right, ultimately. So the self-cancelling indicators they're a feature, it has them, I wouldn't rely on it. What a stunning day though. What an absolutely stunning day though, team. Look at this. This is great weather for riding. See, right, still going, 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 off. That's a long time to stay on, right? I knew I could do that safely then and test it. That's a long time to stay on. And the bloke behind me's probably going, what the fuck's he doing? Well, we get to our cruise control and stability section. So we press that button, it gives you cruise control turned on. You put it down to set it, cruise control is on at 40. We're now doing 40 mile an hour on cruise control, and we don't need to go any faster than that. So in terms of cruise control, once you work it out, like I didn't with the GP, it's super easy. Stability wise, you can obviously do the things that I talked about before with no hands. It's quite easy to steer this with your legs, so you could just press your feet down and you can get it to go around bends quite comfortably. I'm not going to muck about with cars coming the other way just in case, but you can. So many bikes out today, it's beautiful. So you can no-hand it, and you can, with your legs and thighs, you can steer this thing. See, quite easy. It passes that test quite comfortably. Again, this thing is quite a leery engine if you really want it to be. So you want to be using it for things like average speed limits, the standard shit we've talked about before. And so we approach the twisty section of the first ride. I say twisties, it's not as twisty as you'd like, but for a person who has only been riding for a little while, this is perfectly twisty enough. And you can, oh my god. Oh, team, this is fucking naughty. This is naughty, honestly. So the brakes are actually, they feel more responsive than the other ones I've used so far. They feel a lot more responsive than what I was used to with the GP. I can't remember the MT-10 so much. But these ones feel like they've got a much better feel to them. I don't know what the difference is. I'd like to know what the difference is. I don't know if the GP had Brembo calipers. Is that the difference? This thing is insane. This thing is mental. There's no way I'd admit to a section back there, which you won't see, having the front wheel off the ground a couple of times. I would never admit to that on a camera because that would be stupid. But I reckon it'd be really easy to do. I reckon it'd be really easy to do if you got used to this thing. Jesus. So when it comes to things like overtaking, it sounds silly, but powerful engines are quite good for overtaking. You know, it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but safe overtakes, you want to be getting them done quickly. This will do safe overtakes very, very quickly. Like very, very quickly. It is not a concern. Overtaking is not a problem. Do not worry about overtaking, young Padawan. This will do it. I think it definitely is possible that you could have more fun with a cross-plane 3 over a cross-plane 4. I think that is definitely possibly a statement that could be true. My fucking word, this is incredibly good. No wonder this bike got Bike of the Year last year. No wonder it got Bike of the Year. And the thing that really blows me away is we come into a nice cheeky little 30 zone like this and it's fine, like it doesn't want to rip your face off. It just does it. It transitions from Larry lunatic to comfortable, quiet city rider so easily, dangerously easily. Honestly, this 100% could be a daily bike for all kinds of things. I think you could legitimately enjoy this as a daily rider to work. I think you could enjoy it as a fun bike when you want to get a bit excitable. I think you could probably put this on a track and have loads of fun. It's so good. It's so good at everything. I think, I say it's so good at everything. I think as a long distance tourer or commuter, yeah, maybe not. Oh, our fuel gauge has just changed. I don't know if I told you guys this already, but the fuel gauge is a bit different to the MT-10s. It's a bit better than the MT-10s, but importantly, when you fill it, it just says over 120 miles. I was like, on the GP, I was like, for ages, I was like, it just keeps saying 140, what's going on? I didn't realise it actually said over 140 miles. This is over 120 miles if full. So what your actual fuel range is, you'd have to use a trip computer to figure it out. You're going to get a minimum 120 miles out of the tank, probably a bit longer. Probably a fair amount longer, depending on how you ride it. I have seen a 55 mpg out of this thing. So it's probably more fuel efficient than the MT-10 is. And then for city roads, it's very, very easy to skip traffic on an MT-09. Very, very easy to skip traffic on an MT-09. I mean, it looks cooler than I thought it would with the lack of headlight. It's clearly gone for a red light. I know, having watched the edit back, I know you guys can barely see this in the windows. The Fox and Hounds. The headlight doesn't look as silly as I thought it might, with B as a big oaf on it. So as we get to the end of my first ride review, my thoughts. Well, I mean, as someone who typically rides a Harley cruiser, the ease in which you can jump on this bike and be a hooligan is terrifying. It's a sensational bike. There's some niggly things that annoy me. I don't love the headlight. This thing's bouncing around in front of me the whole time. What's this twat doing? This thing bouncing around in front of me the whole time is irritating me. That I'd need to figure out a way of making that less shit. And then that's kind of it, really, right? There's just not really. Oh, the self-cancelling indicators aren't really self-cancelling indicators. That sort of annoys me a little bit as well. That's about it though. Like, legitimately, that's about it. Everything else is great. Like I said, you can jump on this and be an absolute hooligan without really trying. And that makes this an incredibly impressive machine. If you want to do long distance touring, you probably could put saddlebags on and be quite comfortable, but it's a naked, you're going to get battered with wind the whole time. It's got a smaller fuel tank, the range isn't incredible, it's okay, but it's not incredible. In terms of comfort, you could do it, sat upright, you could do it. I don't think, I mean, I'm in the saddle for an hour and a bit, an hour and a half, and I am fine, no back pain, no knee pain, no nothing, no numb hands, everything's good. It's a brilliant little machine, this thing. I say little, it's not little, right? It's 890cc, but it's a brilliant bike, this. There is absolutely no wonder Yamaha won Bike of the Year with it last year. I think they've won it like the year before as well. It's an insanely good little bike with a great little price point. This is definitely up there on my list of incredible bikes. It's not a big list, I haven't tested those yet. Right, but that's a relevant team, okay? It's up there on the list. It's a lot of fun. I have been thinking about getting rid of my Street Glide for an MT-10. I've told you this before on the channel. Would I do an MT-09 SP instead of an MT-10 SP? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I want to keep the 10. I feel like I want the MT-10 SP. I don't know why I'm drawn to the 10. I prefer the indicators on this. I like the fact it has options for free sat nav, although I've got a Beeline motor too, so that's less of an issue. I prefer the indicators. The power delivery is insane. I think you could have more fun within kind of legal capacities on this bike. The handling's beautiful, it's very comfortable, suspension is good. That being said, the SP suspension for the 10 is the semi-active or semi-automatic, whatever you want to call it. Olin suspension is probably even better. The dash is a bit nicer, a bit better, but I'm not really bothered about that too much. The keyless is nice. I'd like to have keyless on the 10, but it's not a game changer for me. I don't know why. I feel like 10 SP being more expensive, I'd probably still just rather have it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What should I do? Should I MT-10 SP or MT-09 SP? What do you think? It's going to be one of them. I think it's got to be one of them. This crossplane 3 is very impressive. If you're thinking about an MT-09, if you've watched this video because you are thinking about an MT-09, I've probably not done anything to assuage. Not assuage, that's the wrong word. I've probably not done anything to dampen your kind of desire for one. I think I'd need to, if it was me, the self-cancelling annoys me, but you just don't rely on it. I'd need to adjust the clutch. The biting point's in a weird place at the moment. As I've taken it off the forecourt, I'd have to adjust the clutch. It's not as sensitive as I want it to be. Oh, fucking god, this thing is incredible. And it sounds nice as well. So I'd need to adjust the clutch, but I'd probably swap the levers anyway, because I want them to be black to match the rest of the handlebar kind of setup. This bouncy little knob thing here, that would have to... I know what it is, don't worry, I know what it is. I know what it is, before you all get upset. I'd need to do something about that, because it's kind of just, it's weird, I don't know, it's weird that. And then you wouldn't need to change much else. If you've got this crap fitch exhaust on it, I feel like you just go. You might want to add a tail tidy, perhaps. So I think this is an incredible bike. I mean, I'm handling this at speed very comfortable and confidently. Like, a lot more comfortably than I have most others so far. I'd love to jump back on the 10 now. I've done some naked riding for a while and see how that feels. What are you doing, you lunatic? But this bike is a very good bike. It's a very, very good bike. So yeah, I mean, comfortable or comfort, 7 to 8 out of 10. Powertrain, 8 to 9 out of 10. Handling, 8 to 9 out of 10. Smile factor, 8 to 9 out of 10. Overall, this bike is just an 8 to 9 out of 10 bike, minimum. It might even be pushing that 9 to 10 out of bike, honestly. It's just so good. And I think you could have one of these, own it for a long time and be perfectly happy. Legitimately think that that's the case. It's fucking insane. It's very, very good. So overall, this is probably, I'd need to ride the 10 SP, because at the moment this is neck and neck with the MT-10 for the best bike I've ridden so far. And again, the list is short. I'm aware the list is short, but it's neck and neck right now with the 10, and it's very close. Quick shift is beautiful. It's just, there's just not a lot to hate about this, and anything you hate about it is niggly. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this first ride review. Like I said, this is a 9 out of 10 bike at least, maybe even pushing the 10. But it's very, very good. It's a very, very good machine, this. And I think if you're... thinking about one, go for it. It's incredible. You will not be disappointed. There is not a pound wasted. What a bike. What a bike, team. Honestly, it's amazing. Hope you've enjoyed the first ride review. Hope you're enjoying. I realised I didn't do a sound check, but I feel like you're getting all the noise you needed. I don't feel like I needed to do a thingy test. It's great. It's incredible. This thing's insane. I love it. I don't have bad things to say about it, really. I've told you the niggly things. They're really small and niggly. They're things you can definitely live with. Otherwise, it's a phenomenal machine. If you buy one, you'll be happy. Apart from that bite point, I need to adjust that bite point on first gear. Fuck me sideways. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this first ride review. Shit the bed, this thing is fun. I'm going to take it back to Crescents now because I've got to have it back before 2 o'clock. I don't think that's going to be a problem. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash that like button for me. And if you are new to the channel and you're watching it for the first time, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. This weekend is beautiful. So is the start of next week. So if you get the chance to get out in the sunshine, I urge you to do so. Ride safe, have fun. Of course, have fun. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.